Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today I'm going to explain an adventure thriller movie called Nerve. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The movie opens as Venus Delmonico, a high school student from Staten Island, receives an email. It is a message from California Institute of Arts, reminding her that the admission deadline is only 2 days away. Venus always wanted to join an art school to pursue her passion of photography, and recently she was accepted into CalArt, the most prestigious one in the nation. She also wants to go out of her hometown and see the world beyond it, but ever since her brother Mike passed away a year ago, her priorities have changed. Instead of happily accepting the invitation, Venus begins to write a reply email stating that she will have to decline the offer. She's turning down the invitation because she's too scared to tell her mom that she wants to leave Staten Island. But before she can send the email, Venus receives a Facebook notification from JP Guerrero, the school heartthrob and a rising football star. He has tagged her in a photo with a caption asking everyone to attend a practice game that afternoon. Just as she's about to click the like button, her friend Sydney video calls her. Venus is taunted about her secret crush for JP, which makes her blush. Sydney then asks if she has told her mom about the invitation from CalArts, to which Venus replies that she hasn't. In the middle of their conversation, Sydney excitedly announces that Nerve is starting. When Venus asks her what that is, she sends a link that leads directly to a video. It turns out that Nerve is a 24/7 live streaming game where anyone can participate by doing crazy dares. People can join Nerve either as a watcher, someone who pays to watch, or as a player who plays to win a cash prize after each challenge. Sydney urges her friend to sign up for the game as a watcher, but the latter doesn't seem interested in it. At breakfast, Venus has a conversation about her future plans with her mother, Anne. It's revealed that Anne wants her to accept a scholarship from a local college and stay with her in Staten Island. She jokes that given their financial condition, the only college dorm Venus can afford is their own home. Venus sees this as an opportunity and carefully proposes that they list Mike's room on Airbnb for some extra cash. However, Anne completely rejects the idea as she doesn't want to sell her son's memories. Later, at the practice game, Venus takes pictures of the football team members, including JP, for the school's magazine. Meanwhile, Sydney, who is a cheerleader, talks to the watchers on her Nerve account. She asks them to support her before going back to the other cheerleaders. After a while, the dance routine begins and everyone performs their part brilliantly. But in the midst of it, Sydney suddenly turns around and lifts up her skirt. This sends the crowd into a state of frenzy, while Venus realizes that her friend did the stunt as part of a Nerve dare. Nerve is a funny way of spelling OnlyFans. The scene then cuts to a series of clips that shows several youngsters throughout New York participating in Nerve. Sydney is happy that she's continuously earning through the game while having dozens of watchers. Later during lunch, Venus chastises her friend, revealing that she got a temporary suspension because of the stunt. She asks her to focus on her studies and other important things in life. However, Sydney retaliates, saying Venus doesn't understand the adrenaline rush of the game because she's the type of person who simply wants to stay in her comfort zone. Enraged by this comment, Venus goes home and signs up to be a player for Nerve. A robotic voice then lays out the 3 important rules of the game. The first one states that each player must record their challenge with their own phone. The second rule says that players get eliminated for failing or bailing out of their tasks. And the final rule strongly warns players against reporting the game to authorities, stating that snitches get stitches. Shortly afterward, Venus accepts her first dare, and the game asks her to reach a nearby diner. She asks her close friend Tommy to accompany her for the task. Tommy genuinely cares for her, and as a budding programmer, he has serious reservations about Nerve. He agrees to accompany her, but reveals that some kids had supposedly died while playing that game. Venus retorts that if kids had actually died, that the game would be shut down by now. However, Tommy explains that it can't be shut down, since there isn't a single server for the game. Every person who logs on to Nerve becomes a new server, making it impossible to shut down. After a while, they reach the diner, and Venus learns that her first dare is to kiss a stranger. She will have to do so for 5 seconds, and the reward is $100. Tommy tries his best to discourage her, but she ignores him and approaches a guy named Ian. The latter is currently reading a book, so Venus tries asking him about it. Ian happily starts explaining, but Venus can't wait any longer, and she surprises him with a kiss. Tommy captures the entire thing on her phone, and as a result, her account gains several watchers. The $100 is also deposited into her account, making her very happy. Moments later, the two friends notice Ian singing and dancing around the diner. This makes them realize that he, too, is a nerve player. Ian himself approaches them and reveals that he was instructed to come here by the game. After a brief introduction, they then decide to go their separate ways. All of a sudden, Ian gets his new dare, which is to go downtown with Venus. She is hesitant at first, but eventually agrees to accompany him on his motorbike. It is obvious that after their steamy kiss, the Nerve Watchers want to see more of the duo together. When they reach the city, they bid each other goodbye and go their separate ways. But just as he walks into a nearby luxury fashion store, Venus receives her next dare. The Watchers want her to go inside the store and try on a particular dress. Venus likes this challenge, so she immediately accepts and goes inside. She then finds the dress, which costs a jaw-dropping $4,000. With time running out, she carelessly undresses and puts on the expensive dress, but the timer on her phone suddenly stops working, so she has no clue if she completed the dare or not. Just then, Ian appears, completely suited up as part of a similar dare. Unbeknownst to them, another player named Ty is also at the same store. He has accepted a dare from the Watchers to steal the clothes that they were wearing. Once he's finished, Ty sneaks out of the store, leaving the duo without any clothes. Venus and Ian then receive a combined dare, which, unsurprisingly, is to leave the store. They contemplate shoplifting for a while, but Venus ultimately refuses as the clothes are too expensive. Hence, they gather their courage and flee the store in their undergarments. As soon as they reach outside, the dare is complete, and they receive a shopping bag as a prize. It surprisingly contains the same expensive clothes that they tried inside the store. Meanwhile, Tommy is starting to get worried about Venus's involvement in the game, so he asks one of his friends, who is a hacker, to help him gather more information about Ian. They do some digging and eventually learn that Ian is a seasoned player of the game. Meanwhile, for Venus's next dare, she is once again paired with Ian. They are asked to ride a motorcycle in the city at a speed of 60 miles per hour. As if that wasn't hard, Ian will have to do it while blindfolded. Venus is certainly against this crazy idea, but he somehow manages to change her mind. What's the worst that could happen? We could die. What? Yo. As thousands of people watch online, the duo gets ready for the dare. As per the rules, Ian pastes a sticker on his helmet's visor, limiting his visibility. He then starts the engine and asks Venus to give him directions so that he can navigate the motorcycle to the finish line. The countdown begins, and the two set off along a busy road. Initially, Venus panics due to the heavy traffic and fumbles the directions, almost causing the motorcycle to crash into a taxi. But after a while, she pulls herself closer to Ian's body and starts leaning towards the direction she wants him to go. This allows them to easily navigate through traffic and finish the task before the allotted time. In the next scene, they stroll around the city, and Venus asks why Ian is playing Nerve. She wants to know if it's for the money or just for the thrill. Ian responds by giving her a vague answer, stating that he's doing it to help his family out of a sketchy situation. Just then, Venus receives a call from Sydney, but chooses not to answer it. She instead passes some mean comments about her friend without realizing that several watchers nearby are recording the duo. When Sydney watches the live feed, she is absolutely livid. She's even more jealous about the fact that Venus is getting more clout than her. Hence, she decides to accept a challenging dare where she has to go from a building to another using only a ladder. Soon enough, her anger changes to fear and she ends up backing out. While all of this is happening, the mysterious player Ty continuously finishes one challenge after another and gains the top spot. Elsewhere, Venus and Ian show up to a Nerve party among loud cheers. She gets to know that Sydney has been eliminated from the game and tries to find her. She eventually locates her in a room, making out with JP, and the two begin arguing. Sydney is mad that her close friend passed mean comments on her while several people were watching. As she continues ranting, Venus receives notification for a new dare. She is to complete the same challenge that Sydney received earlier, to go from one building to another using only a ladder. Fed up with being mistreated, Venus accepts the dare and surprisingly ends up completing it, which bumps her up to first place. But her celebration is cut short when Tommy arrives at the party with newfound information. He reveals that Ian is a seasoned Nerve player, and he was actually dared to create a misunderstanding between Sydney and her. Upon hearing this, Venus is devastated, as she had really started liking him. She then storms out of the party, followed by Ian. She angrily asks if he really manipulated her for his own benefit, but before he can answer, Ty shows up wearing a mask mask and takes a video of them. Seeing this, Ian grabs her hand and runs away from there. He then leads her to an elevator where she starts screaming like a maniac. Venus is enraged that she was forced to be part of a game that almost got her killed. In his defense, Ian replies that the whole situation is complicated to explain, but this only makes her angrier. Having had enough, she storms off from there and finds a cop outside. Venus immediately informs him about the nerve game and what it entails. She's gonna get stitches, but the officer seems unbothered and asks if a real crime is being committed. She tries to show him her mobile phone, but their conversation is interrupted when she gets a call from her mother. It is then revealed that, as a punishment for trying to inform the police, all the money from Anne's bank account was siphoned out. Venus promises her mom that she'll solve the problem and abruptly hangs up. She then walks away from the cops so that he doesn't get to know about Nerve. However, when she reaches a bit further, Ty suddenly appears and knocks her unconscious. She later wakes up in a container with the walls saying, "Snitches get stitches." A television then shows cryptic messages with Venus's social media profiles and personal information. A voice addressing her as a prisoner says that they now control her entire life. However, they give her a way out by winning the final round. Venus is then instructed to go to the Staten Island ferry where the Watchers will find her for the final dare. Elsewhere, Tommy and his hacker friend have been trying to break into Nerve's code so that they can put an end to all the madness. In the next scene, the final dare begins as Venus reaches the ferry and a masked Watcher hands her a gun. She actually has to engage in a gunfight with none other than Ian, who's also been given a gun. Whoever shoots first wins the game. Ian, who feels guilty for using her, begs her to finish him off, but she refuses. As seconds tick on the clock, the atmosphere in the ferry starts to heat up, but both Ian and Venus don't have the courage to shoot each other. They simply stand there, wondering what kind of mess they've gotten themselves into. Suddenly, a masked man from the crowd starts firing warning shots. When he has everyone's attention, he announces that he'll complete the dare himself. The man then removes his mask, revealing himself to be Machine Gun Kelly, aka Ty. Sup? Venus tries pleading with everyone gathered there, asking if they really want the players to kill each other. She also points out their hypocrisy, saying that they should remove their masks and take responsibility for their actions. But her pleas fall on deaf ears, as the Watchers are excited to see some action today. Elsewhere, Venus's mom arrives where Tommy, Sydney, and the hacker are. She threatens to call the cops if they don't tell her what's happening, but she can only watch helplessly as Ty eventually shoots Venus, dropping her to the ground. Ian immediately rushes to her and tries to wake her up, but to no avail. The mood on the ferry also changes, and everyone goes numb. Just then, Tommy's hacker friend finally manages to alter Nerve's code. They immediately send a message to all the Watchers, warning them that they are accessories to murder. This prompts them to sign out of their servers, shutting down Nerve once and for all. In the aftermath of this incident, Ty walks up to a devastated Ian. The latter abruptly grabs a gun and aims it at him, but before he can do something stupid, Venus wakes up. In a shocking turn of events, it's then revealed that Venus and Ty had banded together secretly. They had expertly staged her murder with fake bullets to scare the Watchers into deleting their Nerve accounts. This elaborate plan is a total success, as every single server is now closed. In the final scene, Ian and Venus leave the location of the final dare. He confesses to her that his real name is Sam. Unbeknownst to them, a Watcher is secretly recording them from afar. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.